The respected Chief Guest of the Day, Professor Dr. K.P. Mohandas, sir, Dr. Sabik, coordinator of this program, all other IEEE delegates and dear participants, a very warm good evening to one and all. It's been a great privilege for me here to welcome you all for today's program, 24th lecture of webinar series organized by IEEE Malabar Subsection in collaboration with the Malabar Hub. And we have been fortunate enough to have today's resource person, Dr. K.P. Mohandas, sir, as to deliver a talk on basics of research. Welcome you, sir, for this program. And I am moving my duty to introduce the speaker to the August gathering. Professor Dr. K.P. Mohandas, sir, he is served with the technical education in Kerala for the last 50 years. He was Dean PG Studies and Research, Head Department of Electronics Engineering, Coordinator, Academic Quality Management, International Liaison Officer in National Institute of Technology, Calicut. He also served as the Dean Academic in MES College of Engineering, Pittipuram, Kerala. He's also been acted as Senior Research Advisor under TechQuip at Government College of Engineering, Sri Krishnapuram and Tricharipur. He has been graduated from TKM College of Engineering in the year of 1968 with a first class distinction and first rank. MTech from Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Madras in the year of 1973 and Doctor of Philosophy in System Engineering from IIT Delhi 1983. He had also been acted as the visiting professor at Data Storage Institute at Singapore, Kukurova University, Adana, Turkey, and also at European University of Lefke, North Cyprus. He already guided for PhD and more than 30 master theses. And he has been author of 50 publications in international journals and conferences. He's also a senior member of IEEE, Fellow of Institution of Engineers in India, and Life Member of System Society of India. And he was the founder chair of IEEE Malabar Subsection formed for better networking among professional and student member of IEEE in Malabar area. And he has received Outstanding Teacher Award in the year of 2019 from IEEE Kerala section. He's also been author of a book on modern control engineering published by Sanguine Pearson and co-editor of Proceedings of National System Conferences 1998, which is published by Allied, and 2 textbooks in Malayalam published by State Institute of Languages, Kerala. He has also published a book entitled A Guide to Academic Research. And today, in this evening, he will be talking about basics of research that will support all the research, all the PG also, as well as the research, those who are new to this area. Definitely it will help a lot. So I welcome all the participants for the session. And also I would like to give you a few instructions to the participants. Please mute your audio during the session. And also, if you're having any query to discuss with, you can put into the chat box or you can directly after the session. And also there will be one link available after the session to submit your feedback link to get you the certificates also. Thank you all. And I welcome you all for the session. Sir Mohandas, sir. Now it's off to Mohandas, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this webinar on basic to research. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay. So this is not a formal lecture as such, in the sense that you may not find any textbook material over here. I have collected as from my experience as a research student way back in 78 to 81 IIT Delhi. And ever since I had been guiding a few MTech students and PhD students. And of course, as Dean for Social Studies and Research in NIT Calicut for 2 years. I have picked up something on the road, and probably some of the things I'm trying to put as a formal lecture, and I'm trying to share with you. I plan to give 2 lectures. One is on these basics of research, and second, of course, we'll have something on the quality of research, probably more useful to people who are already into the research area for quite some time. Anyway, so today's lecture, I have a few slides, and probably I will use the slides to the maximum extent possible so that it will be, the presentation will be coherent. So let's start with the first slide. I just want to give you a brief overview of what I'm going to present over here. I start with a basic definition of research. What is research? Maybe rudimentary for many of you. And of course, the motivation. Why do we want to do research? Now, I'll try to distinguish between the major 2 types of research, academic and industrial research. And further, we will also underline some of the aspects of academic and industrial research. And academic research, I will see what are the different types possible. And for a research student, maybe many of you, I think you are maybe either you have been introduced to research or probably planning to do research. How do you start? Where do we start? So I will start with some guidelines for how to prepare a research proposal. And probably once you have got a research proposal and go to admission to an institution, you will choose a guide. And one of the earliest things that you have to do is what is called the literature survey. And you have to go on searching and converging to a problem. And then, of course, you'll have to also check the availability of equipment, some points on that. And normally, when you are doing research, there are a few hurdles to cross. And many of the institutes insist on these 3 several hurdles. And we'll have an overview of what are the different hurdles to be crossed. And, of course, the review of progress by the doctoral committees. How do we communicate the results? And I will mention something about the basic ethics in research that you do. And of course, depending upon the time and permissible, I will also talk about some of the common problems faced by the researchers. And finally, the thesis submission. So it's a bit, probably a bit ambitious. I hope that the slides are contains most of the information. I will make available the slides in a video form after that. And probably the video lecture itself may be shared between that. So let's go to the first slide, okay? So what is basics of research? What is research is nothing but exploring the unexplored, because we want to know, and probably the driving force is the curiosity. We want to know the unknown. And formal definition, if you go to some dictionary, it may be something like a systematic investigation into and study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. It's very important that you are trying to get new conclusions. Next one. Oh, it's a systematic investigation conducted on a given problem or phenomenon for the purpose of establishing facts and use the investigations to reach a new or a novel conclusion. So that is probably you can formally define research in this way. Probably we don't want to put this into a watertight framework like this. Next, please. And why do we do research? Probably very often, of course, the basic motivation for do research by anybody, whether he is seeking a degree or whatever it is to know out of curiosity. You want to do something novel. You want to do something original. So you know that most of the gadgets and innovations which human beings make use of are contributions or the outcome of research of many individuals or groups. And therefore, of course, more coming to the mundane aspects, of course, many of the research scholars, of course, they may not be too much bothered about, they want to get a degree. That may be the mundane, the basic minimum requirement. To get a research degree like maybe MPhil or MS, maybe the MS by research, MPhil, or of course, very often people would like to have a PhD. And incidentally, those who are already working, the acquiring an additional degree may also help you, or most of them, in the career advancement. For example, nowadays, you know that even as research in engineering colleges, it's better to have a PhD degree. If you don't have a PhD, sometime or other, within a few years, you will have to get a PhD degree. So things are becoming a little difficult for those who are not having a PhD degree. And those who are joining as assistant professor with MTech, they may be asked to complete their PhD within a few years, maybe 3 years or 5 years for continuation, whatever it is. Next slide. And so what is the outcome of research? Obviously, it is the first and most important thing is to get a degree, like MS, MPhil, or. And of course, incidentally, along with getting your degree, you may also get some research publications. Maybe the publications could be in journals or conferences. And sometimes if the work is have a lot of industrial loans, probably you may also get a patent. You may be able to get a patent. And these patents, sometimes the patent may be just a patent for patent's sake. It may be remaining in the, maybe you are in the patent library or what. Sometimes the patent may be immediately of use, and then you may be able to use, encash it or give the patent to some industry and make it into a proper product or process. So these are probably outcomes of research. Now, another thing is what is called the industrial research, because there is a major difference between the academic research and the industrial research. In the sense that the industries, you know that many industries have perished because they did not innovate. I know, because I was studying in TKM College of Engineering, one of the very, very important industries around that area was the aluminum industries. So aluminum industries at the time, they were supplying the aluminum cables for all the KSCBs, many of the electricity boards in the south. So they never wanted, they had a more sort of monopoly. But after a few years, you will find when competitors came up, the aluminum has to be closed. They had to diversify and they started something in Man or something like that. Ultimately, aluminum, I think, is normal. They are completely diverted from the cable. So unless innovation is done, some research is done, industries, you will find it may be very, very difficult to survive. And therefore, the need to innovate depends upon real-time problems, and therefore it may be necessary to sustain industry, and of course in the presence of stiff competition. And those industries which do not innovate, which do not put the effort into the research area, probably slowly they will be going out of the picture. And therefore, one major factor of the industrial research, it has to be completed within a finite period. Because probably academic research can go to 3 years or 3.5 years, 4 years later, but industry cannot wait so long. So most of the industry, they want within a few months, or within at least within 6 months or something, so that they can convert this directly into a product. Now, the outcome of industry obviously is innovation in the industry. It may result in the better quality of the product or be more economical production and so on. And of course, incidentally, you'll find the industry is not the contribution of a particular person. It may be from a group of persons, and probably you may not be able to identify a particular person as the contributor or the innovator or the person who was involved in the design. So it may be the work of a group. Now, coming to the types of academic research, so how do we classify the research? Because probably most of you have maybe introduced. One of the most important things is the research leading to a totally new theory. Because that a total innovation, a very basic theory, for example, theory of relativity by Einstein, maybe the study of gravitational forces, which have been going on so long, from even our own Hindu, that people from Aryabhatta and all be going on. And formally, the gravitational forces, Newton formulated this and people studied that. And the Newton laws. These are all very fundamental laws, basic laws in science, which people have, or probably it has been at least a group of persons or individuals. That is one. So if we are able to do something like that, it would be fantastic, because you can have a research leading to a totally new theory. Another aspect is a new interpretation or explanation of a physical phenomenon, physical or natural phenomenon. For example, origin of the universe, there are several theories, the Big Bang theory or so many things and on origin of the universe. So these are all theories. Probably there is not even a formal mathematical book. And the theory of black holes. Of course, it seems Stephen Hawking and they have mathematically proved the existence of black holes. Even now, work is going on, and there are arguments for and against all those things. And probably the reinventing the wheel, even that it was a major research contribution. So these are things that is existing, and of course, you are giving a new interpretation or explanation for an existing phenomenon or a physical or natural phenomenon. And the third possibility is extension, modification, and counterproof. Somebody has proved something, and you find some fallacy in the proof, and then you're trying to prove it otherwise. So counterproof. So of course, you have to be very careful in that, because whatever mistake that somebody has committed is countered, you give a counterproof. It could be a real contribution. And maybe some of the existing problems have an extension or a modification. And probably many research that is going on in our country maybe that type. And of course, a fourth category could be verification by simulation, and validation of a proposed theory. Again, there may be a theory somebody must have, it may be in the form of a hypothesis or maybe a formal theory itself, but probably nobody has conducted any experiments on that. They have not collected the data on that. So conduct experiments on that extensively and then try to verify this using, validate the theory by using simulation evaluation. This also could be a formal research work. And of course, there are these are days, especially people do in the management and other statistics and all, they collect a large number of data. These are the days in which data collection is very, very convenient. You know that the new theory of big data, because whenever somebody is using the internet, a lot of data is being siphoned out. Without your knowledge, your preferences, even your characteristics, or your characters or choice of material and choice of food, everything is being monitored. This is being fed to somebody, and that data is available. So based on this data, people are able to doing some sort of theory or something like that. So collection of data, you know that these days the artificial intelligence and machine learning and all these things use the data available from the internet. So these are formally, I'll just try to classify the 5 different types of research. Probably need not strictly be all of these, but generally starts with a very basic fundamental theory to maybe a simple collection of data and formulating the data and then studying the characters of data and predicting something from that. Next, please. Now, okay, that's what types of academic research. Next one, please. So where do we start? So, for example, somebody is applying for research position, because I don't know what is their the audience. There may be different types of persons. So somebody wants to apply for a research post, maybe in an IIT or maybe an NIT or other institutes. Of course, probably because most of these institutes like IITs and NITs have a large number of research fellowships, and those who are doing research, naturally they should have some allowance, subsistence allowance. Therefore, people will prefer to work in IITs or NITs, such institutions and universities where large number of fellowships are available. It could be, so very often, where do we start with? Because before applying for it, you should have some idea how you are going to proceed. First and most important thing is the choice of an area of research. You should be able to decide based on your MTech, whatever BTech and MTech studies that you have made. You must have identified an area. Of course, I don't mean an area means simply power systems or control systems. Our problem, you may have to go a still deeper level and they have to design a research area. And how do you choose the research area? I said it should not be simply a broad outline like control systems or power systems or electronics or power electronics. So it could be based on your familiarity and interest. For example, I'm interested in one particular aspect of control system, maybe modeling, maybe control, maybe intelligent control, whatever it is. Or maybe, and of course, it also depends upon how good you are in the fundamentals. Because unless you are strong in your fundamentals in the area of research, you will not be able to make much headway on that. Therefore, you should be strong in the fundamentals. And of course, then comes, have we got institutions, research institutions available to research institutions in the nearby area. Some people may not prefer to travel too far. They would like to have an institution very near their home. They would like to go home occasionally and class, all those things. So available to research institution in the nearby area, depending on your preferences. And of course, then after the institution course, you should be able to see that somebody is available to guide you, supervisors. There should be some guide available to you in the area of research. Because all these things probably possible. And of course, the need is there should be the problem that you're going to suggest or going to find out. It could be something you can complete within a reasonable period. Because very often, after the research degree or something like that, you would like to go for a job. And many people who come on a vacation or something like that, leave or something like that, they would like to get the returned back to the institutions out of this period. So that should be able to complete within a period. Now, so how do you choose a guide? Actually, your interest and the guide's interest has to coincide. Because probably, naturally, you'll have to go into the website of the guide and see what are the research areas that he has done. And most of the faculty members joining a particular department to see the prospective research guides and see what are the areas in which they are working, and then research. And often, as a caller may have to choose an area. Sometimes a guide is not available and you also decided to join a particular institute. Maybe some sort of training may be required. So you may have to choose an area that is closer to the work the guide is doing. Sometimes it may be possible. But some guide says that, okay, you choose your area, I will try to guide you. But probably at that time, you should be sure that probably if the guide is not very familiar with the area, the contribution from his side will be very nominal. And sometimes when we have to choose from, the possibilities are there. We are working with a very senior person who has conducted, he has guided more than 20 PhDs. But unfortunately, he may be loaded with a lot of administrative work. He may not be able to sit with you work. So hopefully he may be too busy. Another possibility is you are working with a very junior person who is very fertile in his imagination. He has just completed his PhD, a lot of ideas, but he may not have the research experience, or he may not be able to know how things are being done. So these are two extremes. And sometimes, it may be convenient to have two guides, one a senior person, another a junior person. Next, please. And now, how do you converse your problem? Because I would say that it's more than 90% research. The research comes only after the search. Because once you have identified a particular problem, then of course, it's only a matter of working out the details. You find out what are the procedure or find out a method of solution of all those things. So very often, most of the research area, more than 85% is search. And finally end up with a problem. And then the research starts. And the scholar should be on the lookout for topic of research. So once you have identified an area, and of course, you should be able to find out what are the possible topics. And we see how things can be done. And it requires in-depth reading on different types of work in recent times, published literature available on these topics, and some of the abstracts of the thesis that is available. Next. Now, and continue the search through review papers by eminent researchers. So a large number of very much experienced systems have published review papers in many journals. That gives a lot of ideas, because probably they give the historical development of the topic and the end of the paper with possible areas of research you can continue. So if you can identify a few review papers on the area in which you work, that gives you a lot of ideas on how to proceed on your research. There are many journals bring out special issues, and the special issues will be, because special issues will contain different aspects of the same topic or a major signal processing or like that. So you have special issues. And of course, if you search in the internet, you have excellent tutorials written by eminent researchers on many topics. Maybe even audio tutorials or video tutorials may also be available. These are all the sources by which you can get some idea about the problem for research. And of course, the next stage is once you have identified the area and all, probably you know that some experiment, something has to be done, or maybe some special simulation may have to be done. Then you should make sure that the availability of facilities in a particular institute you have decided to work on, maybe NIT Calicut on a particular area, then you should make sure that whether the facilities are available in the institute, because you work in some area which is very uncommon, then probably facilities may not be available. So if it's an experimental work, you should have the type of equipment for that. For example, if you want to have an electron microscope, see, electron microscope is a very expensive equipment. Maybe it may cost something like 2 crores or 3 crores. So it may not be available everywhere. Sometimes you may have to go. So again, if you want to have special simulation packages, of course you can write your own program. It will be very tedious. But if you have simulation packages, it will be nice. So some simulation packages you may require. So if these are not available, you should also have an idea how to procure them. You should know where this will be available. And of course, if your guide is a senior person, he has a lot of research projects, and that probably he may be able to make some funds available for that. So it is possible to have funds available for the procurement of these equipments or the programs. And if it is not possible to procure, is it available in the nearby institute? Because even when in our own times, some of my students used to go to IIT Madras to collect some data and all. Because at that time it's not available in IEEE Calicut, so they had to go all the way to IIT Madras, they collect the data, and some guidance there is. So of course, the academic institutes, they do help each other, and that way we can get in that. So whether it is available in the nearby institutions, and if it is available, you should get the permission. Some institutions may charge you something, and this money, there's no point of the scholar paying for that. Sometimes probably the grant is available, the institution is paying for that, fine. Maybe your travel expense also part of it, maybe reimbursed by the institute. And of course, these things are necessary, especially when you are doing an experimental work. If it is, these are the days of extensive computing facility, probably simulation and all very easy. Next, please. Now, coming to briefly, because of course, I can talk maybe an hour and a half on literature survey. Briefly mention something on literature survey. Do you know what are the disturbance? So the literature survey based on the library sources are obvious sources. So books are obviously the choice, but you know that the books are not very often useful for research because it will be obsolete at least by 10 years. Even books which I have written, probably things change. Backholdings of journals, current journals, survey papers, special issues, etc. And of course, the previous thesis may have get some idea about others have done in the same institution or other institutions. And of course, you may be able to get some data also from the other sources. And digital sources, everybody, use of digital library sources. You can use the ordinary search engines like Google, whatever it is. You have a more refined search engines like scholargoogle.com, because if you want to get some technical material or scientific material, it's always better to use the scholargoogle.com. There are Yahoo search engines are there. There are some which are not available in Google or Yahoo, may be available in the special search engine called Deep Web. And of course, the Microsoft version search is the latest, what is called the Bing. All these are search engines which may help you to a certain extent. And other sources are maybe, of course, the e-books are available in Amazon. Bips is another one, because I have given the sites and all. You can go to the sites of Library of Congress, LC Web, etc. And of course, you may also get some free ebooks. For example, Bookbound. A large number of books are available in this bookbound.com. You can see many fundamental books are available. May not be of use to your research, but anyway. And Obuko is another site, and get free books. All these are places where the advantage of ebooks are ebooks may be much more of recent origin than the conventional books. So the print books, of course, may contain information that's a little obsolete, whereas the ebooks may be much more up to date. Next, please. And now, once you have collected all this information, how do you make use of, because you may have after a few years, maybe 1 or 2 years, you have so much of information available. You should be organize this information the proper way. Of course, bookkeeping is very, very important for a research running over a period of 2 or 3 years. So unless you keep your books clean, it may not be possible. In our own days, we use index cards and all. Nowadays, you have web databases you can have. For example, there are many content curation tools. The content curation essentially means the curator of the museum, he keeps all his things in a very nice way so that nothing is damaged, so you can it will be available on a short notice. That way you can get. So it's called the content curation services. So I have listed a few content curation services. One interesting is what is called the pearl trees. See, in a pearl trees, you have each pearl will be representing a bit of information. For example, somebody is creating a pearl tree of the Hindi music. The Hindi music may be classical music, or maybe the film music. Film music you may have those by Lata Mangeshkar, that's maybe Mohammed Rafi, Mukesh. Now, each may represent a particular pearl. You go to a particular pearl, you will directly go to a particular website as all this information. That way you can form. You can see I have put the PPT. You can see some of these things. You can go to that. Whereas Cupid is another one. Bussumo, Flockler, these are all names. And the link directly will take you, or maybe you can even type it out and then go to this link. These are called the content curation tools. Of course, you can create your own database using any of the database tools, DBase or whatever, MS Access, whatever it is. And that gives you have your own field structures like author, journal, volume, etc. etc. And online sources, of course, you have Wikipedia. You must be sure that, of course, you get a lot of information in Wikipedia, but you should remember that Wikipedia information may not be always correct, because Wikipedia is a commoners encyclopedia. You and I can contribute. You can write something of your own. And of course, others will try to edit it. There's a mistake somebody will point out. So after a few years, the final material will be available. And still there may be some flaws. Therefore, you should always take the material from Wikipedia, but you get a lot of information on that. Wikipedia is one thing. And then, of course, the Chrome web store gives a lot of additional extensions and apps, etc. Provide a number of choices, and the apps connected with the app is being also. And online learning, of course, these are the areas, very often people are not even interested in sitting in the classroom, because a lot of material is available on the web. You find MIT archive is more than, it's almost completed 20 years now. MIT was one of the earliest institutions that put all their learning materials on the web. So now the websites I have updated. Open Study is another online source. The MOOCs, the massively open online courses. Some of these courses may be charged, some of them may be free. Then Udemy is one. Of course, some of you, I hope some of you at least may have heard of this. Coursera, because I had a student, MTech, in MES College of Engineering. During her BTech, she has taken 4 Coursera, and each one you got a good grade and you're just showing it up. She was only an average student, but you can always add value to your BTech D or MTech degree by additional courses. So iTunes for those who are in the Apple framework or for the Apple framework. All these are online sources. And again, Stanford pre-line courses, University of California, Berkeley courses, Duke online courses, Harvard online courses, and so on. All these are online courses available. And of course, the UCL, that is University College of London, a large number of courses, Yale courses, and of course, Carnegie Mellon. All these are standard websites where you can get several courses, may be useful to you for your PhD work. And of course, you can also update yourself by having your material delivered to your inbox. If you have so-called RSS feeds, you can contribute to that. And many journals, they have what is called the table of contents, TOC. You can contribute, request them. Many journals, and even printed journals, they have a TOC. The TOC will be delivered to your inbox so that you can go through the table of contents and find out whether your journalists have any other papers are of your interest. And then you can approach the author or the printer and get these things. And of course, the educational tools, you have content exploration, all these things are also available. Now, while you are in the research process, especially those who are in the first year of research, you have a few hurdles to cross. Many institutions, standard institutions, these hurdles have to be crossed. Because what are the important hurdles? First of all, many institutions now, PhD is not fully by research. That is what are called the course requirements. So many institutions are insisting on a certain number of credits to be some credits have to be taken by the research scholars. For example, NIT Calicut, when I was there as a dean, any student, I think it's still the situation like that, minimum 12 credits was required. And moreover, it was insisted that the average CGPA, cumulative grade point average for research scholar should be at least 6+. It's not enough that you get a minimum E or F. So you have to get at least a minimum 6 or 6.5, 6+. And of course, how do you choose the coursework? Very often, suppose you have not been, you have done your MTech recently, or you want to get some PG courses are available, you can always sit along with the MTech students and take your courses. And sometimes if the guide tells you some special courses for a PhD exclusively, it may so happen that it may be a self-study course. There may not be any formal classwork available, no teacher, maybe they'll teach you. The guide or somebody else may give you some material to read. So you may have to study at home and take the examinations or assignments and all those things, and they go to look at it. So there may be especially PhD level courses. And very often, most of the institutions insist that its course requirements are completed within the first year, because the rest of the period you can concentrate on your, it's absolutely efficient. And another hurdle, second hurdle very often you have to go through is what is called a comprehensive examination. And I'm talking in terms of, because I have been going through the comprehensive examination at IIT Delhi. And now NIT Calicut is also in thing, and most of the NITs are going through this thing. I don't know, maybe some of the universities and the technical universities, probably they may have only a preliminary examination. There may not be a formal comprehensive. I'm not very much aware of the regulations of maybe KTU and all. Anyway, the comprehensive examination, what is the comprehensive examination? The comprehensive examination, nothing but verify to check whether the student is really prepared to do research. The homework has been well done or not, whether he is up to date on the topic of research. And this may require probably after the course. Normally, the comprehensive examination is conducted after the completion of the coursework. So that probably you are already prepared, you are already in tune with the topic. And therefore, it may be very easy for you to attend the comprehensive examination. It is conducted by a committee members nominated by the postgraduate committee. Your guides also will be there. There may be external examiners within the institute or outside the institute. And of course, may also require some editing. And it's normally some oral examination, probably should be prepared for a grading, maybe for an hour or two, so that it may be extensively on the topic that are learned. Especially those who are working in applied areas. Probably I was doing my research was on a geophysical data processing. So I have to read a lot on geophysics. Because there was not even material available for geophysics. I had to, because I didn't have a geophysics department. So I had to go to Dehradun, get the material, etc. So if you're working in the interdisciplinary area, probably your effort in reading some material. And I had to take some course on communications also, because it was connected with communication. So therefore, these extra courses may be required, and whether you have acquired sufficient knowledge in this area will be assessed in the oral examination. Fortunately or unfortunately, of course, very often the examination you can clear at the first instance itself. If you fail by chance, probably you will be given one more chance. The second chance is also not given, probably you will have to ask to bid goodbye to the research. So very often many institutions are very strict. But of course, it's not trying to frighten you. Very often, if you are prepared, you will be able to complete that. Sometimes after, if you fail, you may ask you a few more courses to be taken. But that means only your research period is getting elongated. Coming to the next one. Well, whenever in the research process, you have to update yourself, you have to be up to date. And you also have to convince your guide and other members in the doctoral committee so that you are up to date. You are doing something, because there is no period you can relax. Even if you are doing a part-time research scholar, you have to do work continuously. Every day you have to present at least an hour on your research topic. And maybe at the end of the semester, the doctoral committee may ask you to present what is the work that you have done during the semester. And probably this may be mandatory for renewing your fellowship course. Especially you are a full-time scholar, your fellowship maybe you are getting 5,000 or 8,000 rupees. So this may be a mandatory condition for the getting your scholarship for the next year. Therefore, you may have to present your material in the end. Probably you may have to make a brief write-up, present it in an oral presentation, maybe half an hour, 1 hour, and then tell them that I'm doing something. I have little progress I made. Probably within the next 6 months or something, I may be able to publish a paper and so on. And of course, before we go into the probably there could be a situation which is called the second comprehensive called the proposal defense. So after studying something on the research area, you may have you give a proposal for the defense, proposal for your PhD work, called the proposal defense or second comprehensive, may be required. And of course, this may you may suggest something, and probably the doctoral committee members, at least some of them may be able to give you some extra ideas so that you will be in the right track. And communication results, of course, as you're getting something, some results are coming. Probably your guide may be able to say whether it is good or bad. But if you have some guides, they may think, okay, why don't you write as a paper? Let's send it as a paper. And then you will try to publish as a paper. It could be a publication in a conference or a journal. Because the advantage of conference papers that you can get it very quickly processed, you can present it. But unfortunately, the value for conference papers is not much. I'll come to the, when you talk about the second lecture on the quality of research, we'll come to that. So conference papers are not given much weightage, even for career assessment. Whereas journal papers are always given high weightage. Of course, the problem is journal papers do not get published so often, because it may take a little more time. So again, when you are communicating with us, of course, it may help, and in discussion with communication with your colleagues, it may help. Discussions and reviews of papers. Probably, if you send a paper to a particular journal, you get a review. It may not be a paper, may not be accepted. Even if the paper is not accepted, the paper of your work is being thoroughly reviewed. There may be 4, 5, or 7 reviewers. The reviewer's report will be conveyed to you. And this reviewer's report will be carefully go through that. Definitely, they will not be giving an answer yes or no. They will go through your paper and they will suggest what are the pitfalls, what are the plus points. These reviews will be very useful for you to reorient your research work so that you will be able to do a better work. So your quality of research also can be improved by that. So even if the paper is not accepted, you will find the feedback that you get from the journal will be definitely useful for your continuing research. And of course, if you have something very good and it is very hot, you can always try to file a patent. Of course, you should remember that getting a patent also is not a very quick process. It takes time because they want to check, patenting authority want to make sure that this work has not been duplicated elsewhere. Nobody has done. So it is a very painstaking process. Therefore, patenting is a long drawn-out procedure, and especially government agencies take a long time to give a patent because even some of the institutions, they try to get a patent from US. Maybe in Indian more time they file in US. Anyway, so patent is a possibility. Something on the ethics of research. Of course, probably this is essential. Objectivity. Define the specific goals and arrive at the precise and accurate conclusions. Objectivity should be, and honesty and integrity. Actually, so it can be any field, whether you are working as a human being, you should be honest and you should be having the integrity to that. Carefulness, because I have seen even some of my students, when you make a presentation, see even a small, you have spent so much of effort making a presentation. You must find even here in my presentation, there's a small mistake. Honesty, that Y is missing. See, it comes casually because probably I was being casual. So probably now I corrected my laptop, now I have corrected. Because being casual is always because it may be a simple, after all, it's a small spelling mistake. How does it matter? Well, I had been as a student, as a guide or as a person who was sitting in the audience, I was always trying to point out this. Although sometimes, my students may not be very happy about that, but you cannot be casual in your presentation. You have to be extremely careful when you're talking to the public and you're making any public opinion, has to be extremely careful. Now there are plenty of avenues for checking the spelling mistakes and all, using your MS Word or whatever people and etc. The errors will be indicated. You should make sure that there are no mistakes and all. And confidentiality, some people may give some information as a personal communication. If they ask them to keep it personal, then you should keep it confidential. Okay? And again, as a research scholar, especially if you're getting some money from the government, actually they expect something back other than your research work. And the research work is mostly your work. You may ask some additional work in some classroom, maybe given. They may ask you to help the junior students, maybe some class or assignment valuation, etc. You cannot get out of that. Some sort of mentoring and social responsibility part of the student. And transparency and openness. Because there is no point in being too much secretive about your research work. If you discuss your trustworthy colleagues, always helps. Because I have found out that that's possibly people are confined to themselves and the guide. Sometimes it may result in I remember when a case question, time is not enough, I'm not going into the incidents, anecdotes. And of course, no discrimination. Well, that is a part of our IEEE philosophy also. No discrimination based on religion, gender, whatever. And intellectual property rights. Plagiarism is a very often mistake people commit nowadays. Copy paste from some other's work. Because there are plagiarism checking tools, even your technical paper is being, even conference papers are checked for, and invariably thesis before you submit is being checked for plagiarism. If it is 5%, 10%, 15%, etc. How to reduce the plagiarism? So it may not be deliberately you may not have done. This is anyway, especially during the literature survey, you must have copied from somewhere. This could be identified as a plagiarism. So probably what you can do is summarize the work rather than simply electronically copy from some work. So verbatim, it should not be copied. You can give the essence of that so that you will be able to, so plagiarism, so IPR, intellectual property violations. And of course, just the last part of my speech, some common problems by the researchers. What are the common problems? Just go. One category is the problem created by self because of our own idiosyncrasies. So doing research is a lonely venture very often. You are doing it alone because there is nobody to share, as well maybe your family. They will maybe bear with your tantrums in that. Well, spending a lot of time, money, and occasionally causing much personal headache and psychological distress. So you may be stressed too much. And however, these days, better support is available. Stricter guidelines for are available to get over these personal idiosyncrasies. Perfectionism, another thing, because you cannot expect all your work, any research work cannot be good enough for an overprice. You cannot be too much overconfident. You cannot make your work equivalent to that of 30% and overprice. No. You should be realistic in your goal setting because you, of course, after all, you want to get your degree, you should be realistic. And of course, if you're an absolute perfectionist, very often, maybe people who want everything 100% perfect. That case, sometimes you will be feel disappointed with oneself, your own, maybe with others, and experience of life. So being 100%, it's a good, idealistic way, it's good. But sometimes it may be a lot of disappointment being a perfectionist. Another is procrastination. You have a lot of work to do. Okay, you postpone to another day. Okay, I will do it tomorrow, maybe after day after tomorrow. So this is a very common problem because sometimes things have to be done immediately. If it is possible in the day, for example, best way is to be systematic. You have a to-do list in the morning and prioritize which are the things to be done first, which are the things to be done given a lower priority. And then you have to decide on the priority, and ultimately at the end of the day, you find out which are the things I could do, which are the things I could not do. This is absolutely essential because procrastination or delaying things or postponing things is a very, very undesirable characteristic for a student. Of course, there are practical limitations will be there, but if you are not able to do it today, at least tomorrow morning you do that. So this is procrastination, another problem. And of course, avoid distractions like, of course, it could be applied once you are maybe have enough 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you can go to the Facebook or WhatsApp. But should not become an addiction. There are many people who are always addicted to. Whenever you get some signal from the mobile, because you immediately go to that. That should not. You should decide some time at which you will be able to do your Facebook or WhatsApp. I also use Facebook. I have plenty of time now. use a lot of WhatsApp also. There may be something useful from that, but very often it is just only for the joke. And isolation and loneliness. I told you research is a lonely process for imposter syndrome. So probably you may be feeling hurt. I've taken something from somebody's paper. I'm an imposter. Imposter syndrome. And access support offered by him. Somebody is trying to help you. Maybe some research scholars in your group may be able to help you. Maybe emotional help or maybe whatever it is, you may be able to help you. And building up resilience and skills to cope with uncertainty. These are uncertain things are there. So researching a new area of academic knowledge is a great strength for all future academicians. Research is very useful for India. So you should have some sort of academic thing and you just build up the resilience to do things. And problems, again, supervisor. I had been the supervisor. I was a guide. I was a student also. Unfortunately, I had two supervisors, very kind, very considerate. One person was such a noble gentleman, because he's no more. Another person, of course, he was the director of, later he became the director of NIT, director of Delhi. They both of them very kind, but you can't expect everybody like that. Sometimes the supervisors have their own problems. They may be stressed because of the family problem. They have a lot of their lecture work, administrative work, and so on. So you should remember that good supervisors are essential. And who is a good supervisor, like a good teacher, is not well defined. So good attributes, I would say, as a guide, I would say, they are all human beings, so you should deal with their idiosyncrasies. But ideally, a PhD supervisor should be attentive. He should be able to spare at least half an hour or 1 hour every week, or 1 or 2 hours every week to hear what you're talking. He should be communicative. If you say that, of course, the work is good or something like that, at least you should be able to pat you on the shoulders. And of course, if something is to be done, some work is to be done, you want to get some equipment, or maybe you have to travel outside for something like that, it should be helpful. At least these three things should be available from the supervisors. And if they're not helpful, of course, there are many online sources are available for help. There are many sites, I have indicated something, explorationsofstyle.com. You want to write something. So I was telling about the project proposal. How to write a project proposal. Material is available on the web. You go to some of these sites, writing help from explorationofstyle.com. So there are a lot of things. And maybe psychological problems, thesiswhisper.com. Get a lot of material. People, these are blogs. People are write from their experience. And we post over 2 million page views when some got stuck on this. And there are hashtags like hash PhD chat, hash ECR chat. And there are even for in a lighter vein, you have even PhD comics. PhD comics are there. You can just search them. So emotional support is also essential. If you are a married person, you have some kids at home, probably they will give you some emotional support at home, but not in research. Many students avoid mentioning the personal issues in a supervisor. If he is concentrating, can even discuss with the supervisor. And there are anonymous forums in which you can share your emotional problems, like finished, PHI, finished.org, maybe phststudent.com, etc. And I said in a lighter way, you can even have phdcomics.com. These are sites, you have a feed every day. Maybe PhD Comics, you get a cartoon every day. You can enjoy, 5 minutes you can spend on that. So these are the ways in which you can get some emotional support, especially when you are lonely in your research work. And of course, some people are towards the end of the research career, they will be uncertain about the future. Those who are already employed, okay, they can go back to the institution if they're permitting. Otherwise, too much about the future. Job markets, uncertain. How much pay I'm going to get? I'll get sufficient salary to support my family. Crushing workloads, what will be the workload? 15 hours or 18 hours per week. Debt, already collected some debts are already, I'll be able to pay back the things, your loan, whatever it is. And of course, they are exhausted and miserable. Because there's no point in that, because if you are miserable, your work will be much less. And of course, there are several discussion forums, you can make use of that. And of course, formal discussion helps, discussion with other researchers, best way to write your thesis. All these things can be done by a lot of help is available in the net. And online communities express concern that students dare not to speak aloud, because they may not even speak to your friend. So these online communities may help you. Several blogs and forums are there. For example, some of these I have listed 100 RSMS blogspot, etc. How to act, etc. Okay. And of course, finally, you have the thesis submission. This is again a problem. Somebody has already done everything. He thinks that of course, the thesis is ready to. probably the guide is not satisfied. These are situations, of course, you have to accept so long as it's your guide. And of course, if you are not able to get the accurate guide as a concern, then you have to present in the doctor committee. Doctor committee has to agree. And if the doctor committee says that it's not good enough, maybe the number of publications also maybe here may be clearly helping you if you have 2 or 3 journal publications, maybe short. But otherwise, probably doctor committee may suggest a little more work. And of course, then you can prepare the synopsis and approval by the doctor committee, and then of course the draft and then correction everything starts. And oral examination, defense, as usual, you have this is accepted by 2 examiners, both an Indian examiner and a foreign examiner. Examiner's recommendations can be accepted. Clarification sought. Sometimes some examiners may give, they may not give a blanket acceptance. They may say that subject to answering these questions, the student and candidate answering these questions, the thesis can be accepted. The external examiner, the foreign examiner may suggest those things. Indian examiner is master. Sometimes the guide and the questions are not too harsh. They are not mentioned anything negative on the thesis. Then probably you may be able to answer these questions in writing to the guide, to the external examiners. They may clear it. And then probably in the oral examination itself, you can clear these questions and prepare clarifications. And you have to carefully prepare answers. It's not to counter the questions. You have to passively or maybe in a way, you have to give a proper explanation so that the examiners are satisfied. And then probably sometimes you may ask the people to resubmit the thesis after the corrections, etc. And finally, you get the oral examination, defense is over. And you get the so probably you're lucky, you get the degree at the next round. So that's all what I have got to present today. So I think I have almost taken about 55 minutes. Well, if you have some questions, I can try to answer. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, if any query is there, you can either you can put into the chat box or you can ask directly. So that was a wonderful presentation. That was a wonderful session. Those you have been started.
If you have anything specific, you can mail it to me. Okay. Somebody is not able to answer straight away because if the time limitation is there, you can even mail it to me. My mail ID is kpmdas@IEEE.org, which I already indicated. You can even mail it to me. I will give the reply in my time within a few days. Okay. So if anything specific is there, let us shoot the questions.
Yes. Have been started with the project proposal, then ended up with the thesis submission, sir. That was a very good, elaborative discussion, presentation, and might have all the participants might have benefited with this. Sir, one question came. Can you share good journal list here, sir? Sir,
good,
am I audible?
Good journals.
Yes.
Because there are, of course, probably I will come to that in my second lecture because there are journals and journals and journals. And nowadays, in the last maybe 5 years or more, large number of open access journals are there. So open access journals, they collect a lot of money from the authors and then publish. They say that we will publish within a few weeks or something like that. And very often these are all money-making propositions. So if you're going to an open access journals, you would say that I will review the papers, we will review the papers, and within a week you will publish. You may be in a trap. So, and such papers, such journals may not carry any weightage, and it will all be serious money-making propositions. Of course, I would say, and depending upon the area in which you work, journals which are run by or organized or published by professional societies like IEEE or maybe Institution of Engineers or maybe IETE or maybe ACM or any such channels, the ASME for mechanical engineers and all. So there are a large number of professional societies, they are publishing journals, and such journals will be are given very high weightage. Of course, there are indexing techniques, what we call the Scopus index and maybe the impact factor, etc. These things I will discuss in the next lecture when you are talking about the quality of research. Okay. So I cannot pinpoint a particular journal right now because if you mail me what is the area in which you are working from, maybe my limited exposure, I will try to suggest a few journals, but not otherwise. Okay. Anything else?
If that is some research, that some journals are there like Hawaii or something. if they are they are requesting for some a very good amount for the publication, but even they are indexed in a very Scopus indexed. Is whether it is a good journal, and even though they are having a very good impact factor also, sir. Can we be considered as a good journal?
You see, I'll tell you the story behind the impact factor and the Scopus index. It requires a little explanation. That's why that's part of my second lecture. I will definitely tell you more on that. Because the impact factor was done by the Reuters. The Scopus is for the Elsevier group of publications. But unfortunately, the so-called impact factor on the Scopus, that's actually really indicative of the quality of the journal. Well, sometimes you may be sure. For example, see, Nature journal is one that is having a very high impact factor. Nature, that is any large number of publications are there. But if you take IEEE transactions or control systems, automatic control, it may have a very low impact factor. Does it mean that IEEE transaction automatic control is a very mediocre publication compared to Nature? It depends upon the type of material, especially highly mathematical journals which work with mathematical material. It's actually based on the number of citations. See, the impact factor, for example, is the number of citations of a particular article, or the number of citations of articles in a particular journal over the possible number of citations. Of course, the data that is used for calculating the impact factor on the Scopus index, they don't publish. Because these Reuters, of course, the publishers also, they got some vested interests. So you can't take the impact factor or the Scopus index as the final word on the quality of book. So that's where the experience of researchers coming. Or your guide who has been doing me in this job for several years, he may be able to say that's a good journal. Journal of automatic control, IEEE transaction automatic control, maybe International Journal of Control. And such papers are, and of course there are applied areas also. So generally, I would say journals published by standard, reputed professional societies like IEEE, IET, IEI, ASME, ACM, all those things, they will be having a very high value compared to other journals. Whereas the so-called open access journals, I tell you, some of them may be bad, some of them may be good, we don't know. Because the point is, when you charge a lot of money from you, from the others, you should be sure whether the money is really worth. And of course, that means you have to check who are all the editors, who are all the people involved, and what is the credibility of these people. Or something. See, I have been invited. See, some journals, suddenly they wanted me to be one among the editors. I said, I want to get more details. Then when I mailed to them, I want more details, they did not reply. And somebody asked me, okay, sir, please send a paper, a review paper on something. We will pay you some letters. And I think these are all, their marketing strategies. So you should be very careful in sending journals or maybe publishing papers in journals which you charge you a lot of money. The standard reputation, of course, IEEE also may charge something if the number of pages or more. But even IEEE has got an open access journal. IEEE has now got an open access journal. There are quick publications possible. But the quality of the work definitely counts. Without that, you will not be able to get a paper published in some of those journals. Maybe any trash may go into some of these mediocre journals. So therefore, this comes out of the exposure, and probably you yourself as a young researcher may not be able to immediately assess the value of the journal. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more question. What are the main differences and
quality of research aspect?
Okay.
I'm not
sir,
able
one
to
more
see
question is there. Am I audible?
Okay.
Yeah, sir, one more question.
Yes.
What are the main differences, and please explain the importance of publishing my work or paper in IEEE transactions and in IEEE conferences and other journals. So it is there in the chat box.
See, the major difference between conference publications and journal publications is the review process in conference publications is not very thorough. Because the conferences are places where you meet a lot of your friends, a lot of your peers, maybe the people working in the area. That way you can create contact, you may be able to discuss your inputs. But the value of the conference papers is not considered high only because the review process is not high. So the review process is very light. Very often, because you want to have many conferences. I have also organized certain conferences. we would like to have a minimum number of participants. So sometimes you may have a slightly lukewarm attitude towards the Calicut paper to increase the number of participants. So therefore, conference papers are not given that much of weightage compared to journal papers. But journal papers take a phenomenally long time to get published. So if you want to establish some claim or something, you can have. But a large number of conference papers does not help in any way, in improving way, assessing the quality of it. Ideally, instead of having 10 conference papers, you have just one journal paper in a very good reputed journal. That's good enough. I'm not equating the number of points or something. Maybe in career assessment, somebody may give 5 points for the journal paper, maybe 1 point for the conference paper. I'm not that. But generally, these reputed journals, if you have a publication, and even many universities abroad, they don't insist on more than 1 or 2 publications in journals. If you have 2 journal publications, that's good enough. I have seen many US theses, so thesis submitted in the United States, many universities, they may hardly one particular journal paper. That's good enough. Because so much of material is compressed in one journal paper. So therefore, there are journals and journals. So we will spend some time on this various aspects of different types of journals in the next lecture. And that's my topic for the second one, that is the quality of research. How do you assess the quality of research? Okay. Okay then, shall we conclude?
Okay, one more announcement, sir. One announcement,
okay.
Sir. Dear participants, as sir has agreed, Mohandas sir has agreed. Mohandas sir has agreed to have one more section, and that section will be on quality of research. So it is scheduled on 26th November. So all participants can join that too. Okay. So over to Muslim.
You are scheduling at 26th.
26th. Yeah.
26th. Okay. 26th is Friday.
Thursday. Next after 19th. Second Thursday.
Last Thursday, sir.
Okay. 12th, 19th, 26th. Okay, I will be able to give you a little more information on the quality.
Okay.
Sir, again, some questions are coming. One more question is there. That is, why survey paper is not counted for PhD?
Survey paper written by the research scholar. Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I told you, the survey papers are normally published by some eminent researchers. You know, somebody is publishing a survey paper, a research scholar is publishing a research paper, he may be just abstracting some of the papers that he has read and publishing a survey paper. A survey paper is a paper written by researchers who have been in the area for 10 or 15 years. And they will be able to start from scratch how the things have developed in a chronological fashion. And at then they may even suggest areas of future research. So such papers will be given weightage, because very often survey papers are invited by the editors from eminent researchers. If you write a survey paper for a conference paper, sometimes you may get accepted. But your survey paper may be an attraction. It may fit into your literature survey part. Your first chapter of the thesis may be your survey paper. Nothing more. Does not carry any novel ideas. There is nothing new in that. Because after all, PhD is a doctor of philosophy. You should have something new. What new you have? If you are abstracting your different papers and writing as a survey paper, it doesn't carry any weight except for your one chapter of the thesis, nothing more. Okay. I'm sorry, I am making it plain, because no survey papers on a research scholar may be accepted. It will have given any weightage, because survey papers or review papers are written by eminent researchers who have been in the area for several years. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Taslima,
you are not happy with that, my answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for the support and for this. Yes, sir. Please, sir. Please continue, sir.
No, that's what I said. Survey papers researched by a research student, it may not carry any weightage. I tell you bluntly, because you are only reading the papers and maybe abstracting and summarizing these different types of work. It may help you in your research. But it may not be, and probably you can even some survey paper somewhere you can publish. Maybe you can have a technical report. In our times, many universities used to bring technical reports on different areas. It may help that way. Other researchers may be able to use that. That does not mean that contains, because a research paper should contain some original material. Some original material should be there. So what is the original content in your survey paper? That is the first question. And you say that nothing. I only read other papers summarized and that summarized. So that's why survey papers, research written by a research student, may not be given any weightage. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, Taslima ma'am.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Yes. Okay, sir.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. And all the participants might be that is benefited with your informative session, sir. Thank you.
For your information, I have published a book.
Yes.
On research, a guide to academic research. And today I checked up with the author that he is no more interested in selling it. If I am able to get the PDF copy, I can make it available to those who request me directly. After my second lecture,
okay, sir.
somebody writes to me, I can make the PDF copy available to you, provided the publisher doesn't be my way. He says that he is not interested in selling, he is not able to sell. Of course, the printed copies are already sold out. I think he will be sending me the PDF copy of that. You can take a printout. It's only a small, about 100 pages, 120 pages. If you are interested, I can send it maybe after my second lecture. And if personally people write to me, I may be able to send a copy of that, which contains a lot of things on literature surveys and seminar presentations and your psychosomatic problems and so on and so forth. Because it's not a formal book on research methodology. It's not something to be written for an examination purpose. Simply something you can read over a cup of tea. And these are based on my answers to many queries in the Quora.com on the research case. I am regular in the Quora.com. Many people are asking me many questions on research. And in fact, one of them suggested, sir, why don't you consolidate all the things as a right book? And I was once in my daughter's place in US. He wrote to me, sir, why don't you write? And that gave me the motivation. And after coming out here, I consulted all of this and make it as a formal book. Maybe some of the material may be a little obsolete, but it doesn't matter if I barely help you. And maybe if it is free, you don't also mind also. Maybe after the second presentation, those who are interested, I can send you the PDF copy, provided the publisher gives me the right to distribute. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm also getting late, I have some personal obligations here.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
sir.
6:50.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.